Now that I'm 21 today, I can finally crack open a cold one. Old habits die hard. Also, I got the UCS Y-WING in the mail yesterday, so I'm going to be doing a live build of it tonight on the channel. Make sure you turn on notifications so that you know when I go live. It'll probably be around 7 p.m. Eastern, but I'm not 100% sure, so if you have notifications on, it'll tell you when I'm live. I am so excited for this thing. It was actually supposed to be here by Saturday, but it didn't end up arriving till Monday because USPS sucks. Like, it was literally going from Georgia in the United States to Florida in the United States. And for those of you who don't know, like, I could have drove there in 7 hours, but it took USPS 5 days to deliver it. It was 3-day priority mail. So I was very unhappy about that, but it finally showed up. I'll be doing it again. I'll be doing a live stream tonight building this thing, and hopefully we'll get it done tonight, and I can finally have this thing ready to be reviewed on the channel. Anyways, with that out of the way, this is Ask MandRproductions episode number 35, the series where you can ask me questions and I will answer them. You can ask me anything you want down below, and there's a chance it'll get answered on next week's Ask MandRproductions episode. So make sure you go ahead and ask your questions down below. If you do enjoy the Ask MandRproductions series, please show your support by leaving a like. That's the best way you can do it, as well as leaving a comment as a question, obviously. And the other thing I did want to mention before we get into the first question of the week is that the reason I didn't have an episode last week was because I was just kind of burnt out. I got to it, and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do one today. I got the Marvel box, so I filmed that video instead. I was just like, we'll come back to Ask MandRproductions next week. I did it for like 33 straight weeks or something. Like, I had been churning those things out, so I was just kind of tired of making them every week, and I took a break. But now we're back to it. We should be back at it for another 33 weeks in a row, or whatever it may be. Our first question comes from MAB, and he wants to know what the biggest Lego haul I have ever purchased is. There have been a few over the years that have been pretty large, but I don't really know for sure what my largest is. If we're going by how much I spent on it, I'm going to probably say like the UCS Falcon, because that was over $800. But as far as like the most sets, probably like when I got all the 2014 sets, that was a lot of Lego sets. I got so many of those Lego sets, and I got a great deal on them at Toys R Us. I think it was buy one get one 40% off, and then I also had 20% off my entire purchase, so I ended up getting like all the new sets for like 35% off or something like that. It was pretty crazy. Got quite a few sets that day. Also, you know, when I got all the Force Awakens sets, that was a pretty big haul. There have been quite a few over the year. I'll just show them on the screen as we're going, obviously. But yeah, I don't really know what the biggest one is. Maybe I'll try to top that in the next couple years. I'll do the haul of all hauls and just get the biggest haul I've ever had so I can know what it is. Brick Community wants to know how many years I have collected Lego. Well, today I turned 21, so that would probably make it about 16 years. I would say about when I was 5 years old, I got my first Lego set. It was the Bespin Cloud Car from the early 2000s, so I think that was my first Lego Star Wars set. It was the Twin Cloud Car, or it was the Mini Slave 1 with Obi-Wan Starfighter. I'm not 100% sure which one came first. My memory is just way too hazy from that long ago, but it was definitely one of those two sets as my first ever Lego Star Wars set. J-Rod Productions wants to know if you could be one Star Wars character, who would you be? I was gonna say Anakin, but then I also don't want to get almost burnt alive because that looks like it hurts a lot. I think I would go with Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's pretty cool. I think he lives a pretty normal life in Star Wars as far as everything is concerned, and he's still a Jedi, so, you know, he gets away, he hides for a while, and then he dies like pretty normally at an old age. So I think I'd go with Obi-Wan. Plus I get the high ground. Savaz7 wants to know if you could get any UCS set from Solo A Star Wars Story, what would it be and how much would it cost? I genuinely like Han Solo's Landspeeder, and I know Landspeeders might not be like the best sets to make into UCS form, but I think Han Solo's Landspeeder could work. I don't want to see another UCS Millennium Falcon, so the Kessler Millennium Falcon's out of the question. We already got a TIE Fighter a few years back, so that one's not going to work. The Battle Pack builds don't really work, and Moloch's Landspeeder is certainly not a good choice for UCS, but Han Solo's Landspeeder is a really awesome build. It's got this really sleek look to it that I just really enjoy, so if they had to make one UCS set from Solo A Star Wars Story, which honestly I don't think they will be, but I think this would be the one for now, unless there's like some other cool ships in the movie that we haven't seen yet. Or they could just make the Star Destroyer that we clearly see in the trailer. I mean, come on now. If they had to make one thing, it has to be the Star Destroyer. I mean, Han Solo's Landspeeder is a unique set to Solo, and the Star Destroyer, I guess, isn't specifically from the Solo movie. It's from a bunch of movies, but Star Destroyer, please. Brooke Buchanan wants to know if I keep my empty polybags and if I watch Dude Perfect. I do watch Dude Perfect occasionally. It's not something I'm always watching, or I don't even know if I'm subscribed, but I do catch it occasionally, you know, a couple times a year. And do I keep my empty polybags? Of course I do. I keep most of them in this bag right here. I don't think this is all of them. I think I actually have more like just kind of strewn about in my like boxes and stuff, but this is like most of them. And let's just pull out a couple random ones. These are just empty polybags, and we can see we've got the Imperial Shuttle here. Looks like we've got the ATDP. What's this one? That is from the Lego movie. And we have the old Stormtrooper speeder bike, another TIE fighter. So we have some pretty cool older empty poly bags here. These, of course, I all have in my collection. So there's the Shadow Arc Trooper there, and the Stap. So I have a bunch of empty poly bags in this little box or bag here. So lots and lots of cool Lego Star Wars and actually there's a bunch of other non-Lego Star Wars poly bags that I have in here as well. So it's not just Star Wars in here, but I have quite a few empty poly bags, and yes, I try to keep them all. I try to get them all in this bag, but sometimes I don't put them in this bag and they end up somewhere else. So this isn't all of the ones that I have, but this is most of them. I just looking through, found the Chrome Stormtrooper. That's a pretty cool one. I bought these for $3 back in the day at Toys R Us. They had a whole box of these, and now they're worth over $50, which is really sad because I totally could have had more. And of course, a couple of the newest additions to my polybag collection. We have the Han Solo TIE Fighter and then the Darth Vader pod, which is really awesome. The Darth Vader pod is really shiny. I suggest you watch my review on it if you haven't already. And the Han Solo TIE Fighter is a little bit of a different TIE Fighter than we've had in the past few iterations from LEGO as far as mini versions are concerned. This one I find to be a little bit weird, but I still feel like it works. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question, though. Enough of the polybags. Liam Dunphy wants to know if I'm getting the Infinity War sets. So I actually do have a few Infinity War sets, mostly thanks to Brick Vibe, who actually sent them to me for free so that I could join one of his live streams where he was building Infinity War sets. So I highly suggest you check out Brick Vibe's channel. Totally almost tripped and fell over there. Alright, so these are the Infinity War sets I have. I actually bought this one myself. This is the Guardian ship. At least that's the name on the poly bag. It was $4 at Walmart, and this one's really cool. I actually want the bigger version of this. I don't have it yet, but I think I might be buying the bigger version of this set at some point in the future. Brick Vibe sent me these next two. He sent me this, which is the Outrider Dropship Attack. I've done reviews on both these sets, and then we also have the Hulkbuster Smash Up. So these are the two like main Avengers Infinity War sets I have, and then I have the poly bag. I've repackaged these, like I put them back in the boxes after I built them now because I don't really have the shelf space for them and I don't want them to like sit out and get super dusty. So they're just kind of disassembled in the boxes. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them in the next few years. They might just sit in the boxes forever, but I do have them. They're just kind of out of the way for now. Avoki wants to know, why can LEGO not make a LEGO Star Wars minifigure series? He also says they were obviously able to make buildable figures, which are a lot more like action figures, and that lies the problem for me. I don't understand why LEGO is not able to make a collectible minifigure series, while in the same vein, they were able to make buildable figures, and the whole idea that I've heard is that it's because Hasbro doesn't want LEGO to be making action figures because Hasbro owns the right to make Star Wars action figures, and so Hasbro considers LEGO minifigures to be action figures, but for some reason, these Star Wars buildable figures are not action figures. Unfortunately, all my buildable figures are deep in that pile of boxes, so I can't pull them out, but just essentially imagine an action figure, a buildable figure, like those are pretty similar, versus a minifigure and a Hasbro action figure of a Star Wars character. Like, they're not even close to the same. So I don't really understand what's going on there. I just know that LEGO can't, and they haven't, and they probably won't, which is a real shame. Grifter says he knows it's not LEGO related, but he does want to know what kind of music I listen to. So I'll say this to all of you in the audience watching this video. Your questions don't have to be LEGO related. They can be anything. You can ask me anything. That's the whole point of this, is Ask Him in our production series. It doesn't have to be LEGO related. It's usually, most of it is LEGO related because it's a LEGO channel, but you're more than welcome to ask me anything you want, and I might answer it. Anyway, I'll just list off a few of my favorite songs so you can get an idea of the kind of music I listen to. I love Blame It on the Night. I love Pumped Up Kicks. I love I Ran by A Flock of Seagulls. I also really like some songs by Nakey Jakey. He's actually a YouTuber, but he's got some really great music, such as South Dakota, Cafeteria, and Saint Like, there's just a lot of good songs that I like listening to. I don't really know the best way to explain it, but if I like it and it sounds good to me, I'll listen to it. This is actually my Spotify playlist, and there's like over 500 songs that I listen to on a regular basis. So like I Ran, there's a lot of different songs in here. Say It Ain't So, Dunked On by Froggy Fresh, that one's a little bit of an odd one, but Bottoms Up, like that, Rolling in the Deep, I love Adele. Like there's, most of the popular songs I like listening to, and there's just a bunch on here. If you like pause it, I'm sure you've seen some of the songs on here before, and you've probably heard a lot of these, but this is like the kind of music I like to listen to on here, so that's just an idea of what I listen to, I suppose. And here we have a comment of the week from Artie Artie. It says, Emperor, what is the best route to Las Vegas? And the answer is Route 66, because Order 66. Ba-dum-tsh. Jedi Master says, thoughts on a third astromech droid leg for LEGO astromech droid minifigures. So I think that would actually be pretty cool. I think that's like the next evolution LEGO could make with their LEGO astromech droids. I'm not really sure why it hasn't happened yet. It seems pretty straightforward with them being able to do it. Maybe they make a slightly new mold, but it seems like it's totally possible for them to do. I don't know why they haven't done it. They've obviously done it on the buildable R2-D2, and it worked out pretty well. So I could totally see them doing it maybe in the next like 5 to 10 years, but it's odd that it's been 20 years of LEGO Star Wars and they have not added that third leg option on there. Maybe they found that set, it's a little bit finicky and it would tend to fall off or break. Like, I'm sure they've tested it and played around with it, but for some reason it just hasn't made it to the mass-produced Lego sets. Golden Light Pictures wants to know what my favorite videos I have ever posted are. I actually made a playlist called Best of MandRproductions, and I'll link it on the top of the pinned comment down below and at the top of the description, and you can check out like what I consider to be my best videos. There's actually like 20 to 25 videos on there that I actually think are like my favorite videos that I've ever made, so I would totally check out that playlist. I have it linked down below, and you guys can totally check that out. Check out all those videos on there, and I don't really have a sure favorite video that I've ever made, but there's a bunch of them on there that I really do like and really think are my best videos. God's Reign of Hell wants to know what my thoughts on the new roller coaster set are, so I did do a thoughts video on it, but I'll give you the quick rundown here. I think it's really cool. $380 is a little pricey though. It's a little unfortunate that it's so expensive. For a lot of people, that roller coaster is a really awesome set, but might just be out of reach as far as price goes. The worst part about it is that there are no power functions included, so you have to buy the power functions separately on top of an already very expensive Lego set to make it be able to run the roller coaster chain motorized. So otherwise you have to hand crank the thing to get the roller coaster to go, which is fine. Like, I'm glad to have both options, but I also wish the power functions were included in that super expensive $380 price tag. That being said though, it's still a really awesome set. I think it's a great step in the right direction for Lego creator sets. I really like the roller coaster. I think they've done a great job with it. I think there's a lot of great little details and cool minifigs in that set that a lot of people are going to like. I know Brickhead is getting it, and I'm really excited to see what his son Clark does with it, because he's 3 years old, and that's like the money age to be playing with that roller coaster. That's what you want to see. Like, that's going to be a lot of fun, so I'm really excited to see them get it. I probably won't get it because I definitely don't have the space for it, but I would love to have one day. Team Anderson 32 wants to know if I have heard of foil packs and what my thoughts on them are. So for those of you who don't know, foil packs are these special edition, like, foil packs, obviously, that come with a magazine that comes out in the UK. It's like a Lego-ish magazine. It's not by Lego, but it's by like a third... I don't think it's by Lego, but it's like a Lego-centric magazine, and these foil packs have Lego in them. There are different ones. There's Ninjago, there's other themes, but I'm mainly talking about the Star Wars foil packs here. Most of the mini models in the foil packs are pretty meh. Like, they're cool, don't get me wrong. Like, the Emperor Shuttle is probably my favorite of the mini foil packs. Like, if I was going to get one, that would be the one. I don't own any, but... and then there's also, like, the minifigure ones that are okay-ish as well. They're just little freebies that come in with magazines for those of you who have never heard of them, so I don't really have a real opinion on them. Like, they're pretty cool. They're just not something I collect at this time, which I probably should get into collecting them, seeing as I collect literally anything else Lego Star Wars except buildable figures because they suck. Point being, the foil packs are cool. They're just not available in the US, and that makes it hard for me to get them. George is Lazy wants to know if I prefer a big and expensive set or having a lot of smaller sets. He also wants to know what my favorite Star Wars era is. I'll probably go with the Clone Wars just because that's kind of what I grew up with, but I love the new trilogy, and I also really like the original trilogy. I think all three eras are really good as far as I'm concerned, or at least with the ones that the movies are based around, so I like what's going on there with Star Wars. As far as whether I prefer the big sets or having a bunch of little smaller sets, I would totally go with big sets. I think as I've aged, and I think I was really into this when I was younger too, because even back in 2006, I was into the UCS sets. I was getting that UCS Darth Vader's tie, that UCS ATST up there. I've had that for 12 years now, so I think I've always been into those bigger and more expensive sets. I think that's totally where I'm at as far as collecting Lego Star Wars. Like, if I had to choose between the two, which I don't, but hypothetically, if I had to choose whether I had a bunch of smaller sets or if I just had a few UCS sets, I would totally go with the UCS sets. I think UCS sets are awesome, and I really like the bigger and more expensive sets. There's just something about it. Frankie French Fries wants to know why Lego set prices skyrocket after they retire. I think there's a pretty simple economic answer for this, and if they, being Lego, are no longer producing the Lego set, it's going to go up in value because there is less supply, and let's say the demand is going up because the ship is shown in the new movie, then there is more demand for that ship, but there is no supply of that ship, if that makes sense. I'm like showing my hands, but basically it's supply and demand, pretty simple concept. If a set was rare when it was available and there weren't many made, then it's going to be even more expensive after it retires, especially if it's of like a popular movie or a popular intellectual property such as Star Wars or Jurassic Park, as you mentioned. So there's a bunch of different factors that go into it. Sometimes sets don't go up in value at all. Sometimes they just stay at what they were when they were available because it's not a very desirable set. You can see this with a bunch of sets from the past. Sets like the Freako Speeder, which haven't gone up much in value after 10 years. There's also sets like the Republic Dropship with ATOT that have more than doubled and almost tripled in price if you have it new and sealed still. So it definitely just depends on what the ship is and from what movie it is and whether or not it's popular. Timothy Lay wants to know if Lego should make Minecraft brickheads. So I think this is actually happening this year. I'm pretty sure I've seen it in the rumors. I think it's happening later this year. I think we're getting Steve and a Creeper. So Brickhead Minecraft should be on the way, and I think it's going to be an excellent match made in heaven, much like Lego and Minecraft was to begin with, but I think these are even more so going to go very well together because of their square heads, as you mentioned. So really excited for those Brickhead Minecraft sets. Backpack Backing off of that, Brickmaster Studio wants to know what I think of the duo Brickhead sets. So I think they're pretty darn awesome. I actually kind of prefer them to the singular Brickhead sets. It's no different to me whether I pay $20 for two or $10 each and still get two for $20. I like the duos. I think it's cool to get two characters in one as opposed to just a singular character. I think for LEGO, it's more an idea of trying to get rid of 2 for 1, I guess, and sell more Brickheads, and that's fine with me. I like getting the 2 for 1. And the last question comes from my cousin Zernies, and he says, what is your opinion on a buildable Jar Jar Binks? My opinion on it is that it would absolutely suck and I would not buy it. Thank you for asking that question. Anyway, that is it for Ask MandRproductions episode number 35. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, of course, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, of course, subscribe. And if you have a question for me, anything you want to ask, go ahead and leave in the comments section down below, and there's a chance it'll get answered on next week's episode. So with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.